I met up with a friend of mine last night here in Playa. He's in his mid-20s. He's got a girlfriend who's in her early 20s. And he was wanting to get my advice on about marriage, what it was like getting married in my 20s, because he's considering marrying his girlfriend. And I have quite a bit of experience. I was married at 22 years old, married for 12 years. It didn't work out for me, so I know a lot of the warning signs of what to look out for, what to be aware of. And I was just trying to give him some advice. He's been with this girl for about a year. He's talking that she is his personality type, so he really does like spending time with her. She might not be the most attractive girl that he would ideally want to be with. So he's getting my thoughts on if would it be a right decision to get married. And I didn't have anybody to really guide me when I was married. I was basing everything off of just being, for me, I was in scarcity. I didn't have a lot of options. I knew there was a lot of red flags with my marriage, and I just went through with it because I thought we could work it out. And I didn't have a lot of options, and it was really the first girl that loved me. I did love her, obviously. We did get along well. But I was 22. I didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know what she was doing. So these are just a few things I was trying to tell him, and I wish that somebody would have told me before I got married. So here's 3 things that I wish someone would have told me before I got married. And maybe it wouldn't have changed my mind at all. Maybe it would have just gave me a little bit more to think about instead of just rushing to get married. But the first thing is that red flags are not gonna go away. I remember I was in the clinic. I used to work in the clinic in the Air Force. I was in the clinic with my coworkers, and they asked me one day, how is the relationship with the girlfriend going? They knew I was finally seeing somebody. I think they had an idea that because I was so antisocial in the office, it was kind of surprising that I even had a girlfriend, which is probably why I clung to that relationship so much. Hey, puppy. Which is probably why I clung to that relationship so much. But they asked me, how is everything going? And I remember saying, I'm thinking of breaking up with her because she cries all the time. She's very, guilt trips me. Just not the most positive kind of person. But because I was in scarcity, I didn't have any options as far as I could tell. I was 22. I had no idea at the time that as a man, I could have improved my value. I could have been much more valuable to attract higher quality women. I didn't know any of that. I assumed I was who I was. I was a shy, quiet kid. I don't necessarily try that hard at work. I'm just very average. I'm lucky to even have anybody. So I don't think he's in that situation. But the point was that there was a lot of red flags. I knew that I really did not want to be with this girl. I was gonna break up with her. There was a lot of red flags. She'd cry all the time. She'd guilt trip me. She was upset when I go out with my friends, yada, yada. I made a video about this. But I ignored those red flags. And I guess just thinking maybe once we agree that we're gonna get married and settle down, maybe these will just disappear. Why is she gonna guilt trip me? She knows that we're together. I committed, I took this vow. You don't need to think that I'm gonna leave you or cheat on you. Like I said I do, we're committed. But that obviously wasn't the case. These red flags don't disappear. They actually evolve and get bigger and expand. And because I didn't know how to lead or be a man, I didn't know how to handle it when these situations came up. She would guilt trip me for, nudity in a movie or going out with my friends. And because I didn't know how to be a man, I was just a 22-year-old boy with no social skills, no leading ability, no strong male role models. I just, yes, dear, whatever I can do to make you happy. Instead of standing up for myself, hey, I didn't do anything wrong, or I'm going out with my friends. If you can't handle that, I'm sorry. We'll have to figure out something else. But I didn't know how to handle these red flags. So they just got more intense over the years, which made me not enjoy my relationship. We did have obviously some good times together. We still got along, but the majority of the time I didn't really want to be around her. We didn't have a lot of the same hobbies. And I just craved some time to myself. Like, I'm glad you're gonna be home late from work today, or I'm glad you're talking to your mom on the phone and I can just focus in on whatever I want, which was at the time, just zoning out and just having some time to myself playing video games. But the main thing is that I wish someone would have told me that these were red flags. I wish I had somebody to talk to, like, these things are happening. Is this normal in a relationship? Which, no, they're not. I've had plenty of relationships since my marriage, and I've not seen these red flags since. And I think it's because I don't put up with it anymore. Like, I'm not going to be around it. If I'm seeing those red flags occur, I immediately just break it off because I know I have other options. I don't have to just settle anymore. But the first thing is, red flags are not going to go away. If you're seeing them now in your relationship, it's going to be more signs to come. He did mention that they were about to break up at one point. She had gone through his phone and seen that he had messaged some girls in the past, and she was very upset by this. And it's, I don't know, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. How big of a red flag is that to you if your wife, girlfriend, significant other, whoever, goes through your phone? Is that a big violation of trust? Do you understand where they're coming from? Like, oh, it's they just want to check if you're doing anything wrong. For me, that's a boundary. I do not want girls going through my phone. That's private. That's my stuff. If you can't trust me, or if you're gonna go behind my back and like spy on me, that was another red flag that I noticed very early on in my relationship with my ex. Hold on, there's some dogs barking. I remember I was dating. Yeah, I just thought of this now. I was with my ex. We were dating. Like I said, I was in the military, and you're not supposed to have people stay overnight with you. And I let her stay over. And then I went to work, and I came home, and she had gone through my entire stuff, everything in my room. And we'd been dating for like maybe a month, like not even that long. And she got super jealous of all my ex-girlfriends. Like, I had pictures of my military ex-girlfriend who I dated for like a week because we deployed, or like we got separated right away. And she guilt-tripped me so hard about that. Like, how dare I have these pictures? And then I threw these pictures away. Like, I don't even have those pictures anymore because she got so jealous, and I was so in scarcity. Like, okay, whatever, I can't lose this girl. So I just thought of that now. That's another red flag that I had. But the whole point is, like, these red flags don't just disappear. They're gonna get worse if you don't know how to handle them, or if you just ignore them. And, I mean, he's in his mid-20s now. Like, as a man, you can improve yourself to, by the time he's 30 years old, he could be unrecognizable. He could be way more valuable than this, and then he probably wouldn't even want to be with this girl. So, yeah, she had gone through his phone. They ended up working it out. But for me, I think that's a huge red flag. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on it. So yeah, the first thing I would tell you, if you're listening, make sure you address these red flags. If there are any, just know that they're not gonna just go away. You have to either address them, and if it's not something that can be worked on, you can't assume marriage is gonna fix it. It's just gonna amplify it. It's gonna make it worse. So, number one, red flags. Don't just settle on them. The second thing I wish someone would have told me when I was at my very early age of the 20s was, like I just said, with improving your value. At 22 years old, I was a boy. I had no real knowledge of the world. I had no experience. I had no real value. I didn't work out. I didn't try to make any money. Didn't try to set goals. Had I have known that I'm not just the person I am, I can be unrecognizable. I can become a whole different person. I wouldn't have married the girl that I did. Had I known that, had I actually it really sunk in that, okay, this is possible, I would have focused on myself and just improved. And I was trying to tell him this, like, you want to be coming from, he's making good money now. He's making good money. He travels, he does cool stuff. And he's only 26. I mean, who knows what he could become. I know that he does work on himself. He does work out. He does, does cool things. He travels. He does a lot of good things to help improve himself. And he mentioned to me that this girl is, with his personality-wise, they vibe very well, but she's probably not the most attractive girl that he wants to be with. And that's an issue, I think. If you're not as attracted as possible to your girlfriend or soon-to-be wife, that's not just gonna change. Sure, you can get some surgeries and, stuff like that, but that stuff fades as well. So personality, I would say, yeah, it is the most important thing, in my opinion. I would prefer a girl be a little less attractive but have much better personality. But you also, if she's not even close to what you're looking for, then you're kind of just settling, and you might build some resentment, and it's just probably not going to be as good of a relationship as it could absolutely be. And he's 26 years old. If he improves himself as a man, he could start attracting these girls that also have great personalities, but are also more his type of physical beauty. So I was trying to get the point across that as a man, you can improve your value. You can take steps to become more social, be more confident, be more dominant, make more money, lift heavier weight, build your body, travel more, build your experiences. You don't need to necessarily just settle with a girl because you do like her personality. There's tons of girls who have great personalities. It is a risk though, because you don't want to let go of this girl and then never find that same person. But I think for me, it seems that the higher you build your value, you're just going to attract more and more people into your life. And if you're going to be with this person for the long haul, marriage is not a 5-year relationship. This is supposed to be a commitment. You're supposed to be together forever. If you have these thoughts now, it seems to me that it's not going to get any better being married. You want to find the person that you are very attracted to, has the right personality, and that you can see this, lasting for a long time. This is somebody that's going to spend more time with you than anybody else. So it's got to be the right fit. I guess this also goes with choosing from a place of abundance. Yes, she has a great personality. Maybe she's not the most attractive, but also, are you sure she has the exact right personality from you? Are you choosing from a place of abundance? Have you dated enough women to what you know for sure what you do want and what you don't want? If so, that's great. Maybe it is worth moving on with this person. But you want to make sure, hey, look, a lizard. But you want to just make sure that you are selecting out of abundance. I know for me, I definitely didn't. And not going to say it cost me years, but I was not with the right person, which cost me a lot of, mental anguish. Didn't help my self-esteem any, didn't help me build any confidence. I'm grateful for the way everything did turn out. I think everything did have to happen that way for a reason. But had I known these things earlier, maybe I would have had better relationships throughout my 20s and 30s, and I don't know, who knows where I would have been. So make sure point number 2 is, as a man, you can build your value. You want to be choosing out of abundance, because the more that you raise your value, you want to make sure she's keeping up with you. If she's not willing to improve herself or to come along, in my case, I tried to build my value a few times, and my ex would bring me down, guilt tripping me about working out, saying I would leave or I was going to cheat. So it was not a very good union. I didn't want to be guilt tripped for trying to improve myself. I wanted somebody there who's going to support me and put me on the same page. Which brings me to the third point, is you have to know what your values are and that you guys are aligned on everything. I was 22. I didn't know I could improve myself. I didn't have any sort of boundaries. I didn't know what my values were. I was very much just coasting. I was not into not into self-improvement, not into self-development. We never talked about if we wanted kids or anything. We didn't really discuss any major important things. We just I was supposed to go to Korea, and I immediately just proposed because I didn't want to lose her. And then we got married. Not a lot of thought, not a lot of planning. It was just, okay, I guess we're doing this. We'll figure it out. Definitely not the best way to do that at all. So something I wish I could have maybe thought about more, but I wanted to tell him, and I hope you're listening, because I think this is valuable. You need to really figure out what your values are. Are you into growth? Are you into travel? Do you want kids? Do you want to live in Mexico forever? Where do you see yourself, 5, 10 years from now? And is this person on the same page? I had asked him a bit of this. He's not really looking for kids. He's in his mid-20s. He says he doesn't really want kids. I mean, maybe that'll change, maybe it won't. At 26, you don't really know. And if that's the case, that's fine. But she's in her early 20s. And for now, I don't know that they've even really talked about this. He did say that he feels he could get her to agree to no kids, but at 23, once you start hitting, 27, 28, 29, her opinions could change on this. Maybe she doesn't want kids right now because she's 23. But once she starts getting towards 30 and starts realizing like maybe she does want a family, maybe she is gonna want kids. And if you're still not wanting to do that, what are your options? You're probably gonna have to get divorced, which is gonna be a big headache. It's gonna be very painful. It's probably gonna cost you, I don't know what the rules are in Mexico, but it's still gonna cost you money and it's still gonna hurt. It's not just like you just walk away and it's over. Like it's a tough thing to go through. He did mention like you could get a prenup, which, I mean, yeah, you could do that. So you have some security, but I mean, you're still ending the relationship. And I haven't really thought much about what prenups, I guess I understand like what they are and why you would want them. I'm just thinking, if you're starting off your marriage with a prenup, you're kind of already finding ways to not let it work, maybe. I'd have to think about this a little bit, but just the way he said it, it's kind of like, oh, well, it doesn't have to be forever. I'll just prenup it. That way, if she doesn't want kids, it's over. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe this just isn't the right girl for you from the start. So you definitely have to sit down and have these conversations. Are you for sure both 100% that you don't want kids? And if you are, great, then that's a good start. But if you're hesitant at all, what happens if you change your mind? Like I said, she's in her early 20s. That's a woman's most valuable in terms of like beauty and desirability. Typically, they say girls in their 20s, that's when they're most desirable. And I think this might have probably happened with my wife a little bit, was she was married throughout her entire 20s. So she probably resented me a little bit for wasting a lot of her best years, I guess you could say. I don't know if we'd say wasted, but I mean, that could cross her mind. And if this girl's getting married at, say she's 23 now, gets married at 24, 6 years, that's a long time. She could easily change her mind. So you absolutely have to make sure you're on the 100% same page on that. Make sure you guys have the same vision in mind. Like, where do you guys want to go? Do you guys want to live in Mexico? Do you want to travel together? Do you want to start a business together? Where do you see yourselves working in a few years? I never did this with my ex. We got married in the military. I knew I didn't want to stay in the military, so it was like, okay, well, I'll go to school, graduate from school, and then what? Well, I'll get a job, and then what? We didn't really plan anything out. We kind of just drifted to, okay, well, it makes sense next to go to school. I'll just get a career that is guaranteed job placement. So I went into IT. Didn't really like it. Wasn't particularly good at it. She was very artistic, so she got into graphic design, and that's great. But we didn't really plan anything after that. It was, okay, graduated, now what? Okay, well, you apply for jobs. Didn't have any like goals in mind, like, oh yeah, we want to live here together, or we want to, I don't know, be the head of an IT company. It was very much just, okay, I applied for a job, I got that job, I work this job, this is it, this is what I do. And for me, a lot of that comes down to low self-esteem, not knowing what I wanted in life, not knowing I could improve in life. So that kind of reverts back to point number 2, is that you can't improve yourself. But yeah, we just drifted. We never had any conversations of where we saw our lives going. We didn't have any purpose or goals set together so that we're working as a team. It was very much just drifting by, and this is just what you do. You just coast, I guess. So yeah, point number 3 is make sure you're on the same page. Set goals with each other. Is she into self-development like you are? Is she gonna go to yoga classes with you? Is she gonna work out with you? What kind of things are you going to do together? What kind of things are deal breakers? What happens if she crosses the line? Do you have boundaries? Does she know what your boundaries are? I didn't have boundaries. I let her, I wouldn't say walk all over me, but I was definitely a nice guy. I was definitely a pushover, always doing things to make her happy at the expense of myself. You know, like I said, the movies, I've mentioned before in videos of her talking with old high school friends. And I didn't have any boundaries. I just, okay, I guess I'll just forgive you and we'll move on. But in the back of my mind, I always had resentment, always felt betrayed. But because I didn't have boundaries and I wasn't clear on any deal breakers, of course there was no consequences. She's gonna lose respect for me because I wasn't very masculine, and we never discussed what the consequences would be. Like, if this happens, I'm gonna have to leave, or if she wants to leave, she can leave. Never really had any game plan. So I wish these were things that people would have told me before I got married. Who knows if I would have done it. I was kind of a very low confidence, didn't really listen to a lot of people, so hard to say what would happen. I hope you're listening to this now, buddy, and it helps you a little bit. Yeah, because now that I'm out of that relationship, I do see the importance of this. Because I was around it for 12 years, 13 years that we were together. I see a lot of the stuff that I don't want in a relationship anymore. I've got abundance. I know the goals that I have. I know that I need somebody who's supportive, that's gonna help me reach my goals, that we're gonna be on the same team together, that we have a vision together, and that she doesn't have these red flags of jealousy and guilt tripping and stonewalling and, gaslighting me for all this stuff. I recognize that this stuff I recognize it now, and I know that because I've improved myself, because I do have value, because I know who I am and I have boundaries, and I know there are plenty of women out there that would love to be with a guy like me because I'm committed to improving myself. I take feedback well. I improve myself for myself. I'm not doing it for somebody else. So that helps me just realize that I don't need to just settle with a girl anymore. I know there's plenty of girls out there that will love a guy like me, and if not, I'm fine being on my own mission, on my own purpose, improving myself for myself, because I want to be a better version of myself. Hopefully those tips were useful. There's a bunch of dogs out here eating garbage. It's kind of cute. See, little puppy. So that's today's video. I hope that helps some of you guys out. I think there's a lot of people in the comments who went through very similar situations like me. Married a long time, married to a girl that probably shouldn't have been married to if we really thought about it. If someone had told me these 3 tips and I had actually listened, I feel like my life would have been completely different. Let me know in the comments as well your thoughts on a girl going through your phone. Is that a Deal breaker, is that something you can get over? Is she justified to do it? It brings back some memories to me because I do remember she went through all my entire, I guess it was dorm room at the time, went through all my, and then guilt tripped me about having a girlfriend in the past and having pictures. And we hadn't even been dating that long. Like, yeah, that should have been a boundary of mine immediately. It wasn't. I didn't have boundaries. You get what you put out there. So I was a weak man. I got a lot of behaviors that I didn't want to be around. I just tolerated it, gave into it. So yeah, love to hear your comments. Has that ever happened to you guys? Have you had experiences where she goes through your stuff and you just forgive it? Or maybe she found something and just wanted to be angry about it? I feel like that's a lot of it too, is that they want to go through your stuff so that they have a reason to maybe just to get angry, spike some emotions. Girls are emotional. Yeah, I'm gonna go to my friend's barbecue. We're getting a bunch of people together. It's actually really great being back here because there's a lot of like-minded people. They're already helping me envision ways of improving myself. Whereas I felt over the last probably a year and a half, starting the cleaning business and then living in Wisconsin and Madison or Minneapolis again. It's been fine. I've been improving. I've been improving a lot more after shooting these videos, to be honest with you. But for a while, I was just kind of focused on only the business and didn't make a lot of friends that I really wanted to spend time with, probably because I didn't want to be in those locations. So it's great to be back here, to be with people that I resonate with, same goals, same mindsets, really want to just improve each other. And they understand the importance of building your value. As a man, it is in your control. I hope that helps you guys. I hope that message is coming across because that was not something that I ever grew up with. I did not know, didn't really know I could improve my value, didn't understand that men didn't really have value, that value came from the person you become, not just your looks. I always thought it was just looks and you're either born charismatic or extroverted or you're not. I always thought being an introvert was a bad thing. But I actually really love being an introvert. I just know that I have the skills to be social as well. And it's not, just being an introvert doesn't mean that you don't have to be able to socialize with people. Like, you still have to be able to, I guess you don't have to be able to, but it's nice being able to make people feel good around you, give them positive emotions, and then you can go home and recharge. Being an introvert doesn't mean you can't socialize. It just means you like to be at home by yourself sometimes so that you can recharge, and that's just how you regenerate yourself. Like, I enjoy doing that. I love time to myself, but I also love being able to meet new people. Yeah, I guess I don't know where I'm going with all this now at this point. Getting distracted by everything going on. Going to the barbecue. I leave back to Minneapolis tomorrow. I'll splice that video together, just some of the stuff that you can see around Playa del Carmen, and I'll post that tomorrow night. I'll edit that on the plane. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I think we're going to this barbecue and then maybe go dancing at Santino's. I'll take some videos there. Blessed day. Zig Ziglar says, every day's a good day. If you don't believe so, try missing one. I love that quote. I posted that in the post. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Have a good one.